So my brief video series on the historical walls continues with Hadrian's Wall. This was a shorter wall, of course, than the network of forts, watchtowers, and then stone and wooden walls along the outskirts of the territory known then as Germania, but still belonging to the Roman Empire. I mean, the outskirts of Germania. This wall was in the Roman province of Britain, and remnants of it still survive to this day. It was also called the Roman Wall, Picts Wall, or Vallum Hadriani in Latin, after Emperor Hadrian. It was begun in AD 122. It ran from the banks of the River Tyne near the North Sea to the Solway Firth on the Irish Sea, and was the Roman Empire's northern limit. Immediately north of which were the lands of the northern ancient Britons, including the Picts. It had a stone base and a stone wall. There were mile castles with 2 turrets in between. There was a fort about every 5 Roman miles. The Roman mile, literally mille passus, or 1,000 paces, or steps. It would have been, in modern times, about 1,617 yards, or 1,479 meters in length, so about 130 meters less than the standard English and American mile. So about 5 Roman miles would then make it about 7.4 kilometers. From north to south, the wall comprised a ditch, wall, military way, and vallum, another ditch with adjoining mounds. Possibly the mile castles were staffed with static garrisons, while the forts had fighting garrisons of infantry and cavalry. There were also, or the wall's gates may also have been customs posts. A significant portion of the wall still stands and can be followed on foot along the adjoining Hadrian's Wall path. The largest Roman archaeological feature anywhere, it runs a total of 73 miles, or 117.5 kilometers in northern England. Regarded as a British cultural icon, Hadrian's Wall is one of Britain's major ancient tourist attractions and was designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1987. Contrary to what is commonly thought, Hadrian's Wall does not mark the boundary between England and Scotland, the 2 main regions or countries comprising the United Kingdom. In fact, Hadrian's Wall lies entirely within England and has never formed the Anglo-Scottish border. While it is less than 1 kilometer south of the border with Scotland in the west at Bowness or Bowness on Solway, in the east it is up to 109 kilometers away. East of the River Irthing, the wall was made from squared stone and measured 3 meters wide and 5 to 6 meters high, while west of the river, the wall was originally made from turf and measured 6 meters wide and 3.5 meters high. It was later rebuilt in stone. These dimensions do not include the wall's ditches, berms, and forts. Immediately south of the border, a large ditch was dug with adjoining parallel mounds one on either side. Hadrian's wall extended west from Segedunum at Wallsend on the River Tyne via Carlisle, or Segedunum at Wallsend or Wall's End on the River Tyne via Carlisle and Kirk Andrews on Eden to the shore of Solway Firth, ending a short but unknown distance west of the village of Bowness on Solway. So sections of Hadrian's Wall remain along the route, although much has been dismantled, of course, over the centuries since it was abandoned, to use the stones for various nearby construction projects. Scholars disagree over how much of a threat northern Britain's inhabitants really presented and whether there was any economic advantage in defending and garrisoning a fixed line of defences like the wall, rather than conquering and annexing what has become the Scottish lowlands and defending the territory with a loose arrangement of forts. The limites of Rome were never expected to stop tribes from migrating or armies from invading, and while a frontier protected by a palisade or a stone wall would help curb cattle raiders and the incursions of other small groups, the economic viability of constructing and keeping guarded a wall 116 kilometers long along a sparsely populated border to stop small-scale raiding is dubious. People within and beyond the limites traveled through it each day when conducting business, and organized checkpoints like those offered by Hadrian's Wall provided good opportunities for taxation. With watchtowers only a short distance from gateways in the limites, patrolling legionaries could have kept track of entering and exiting natives and Roman citizens alike, charging customs dues and checking for smuggling. Construction started in AD 122 and was largely completed in 6 years. Construction started in the east between mile castles 4 and 7 and proceeded westwards with soldiers from all 3 of the occupying Roman legions participating in the work. Early in its construction, just after reaching the North Tyne, the width of the wall was narrowed to 2.5 meters or even less, sometimes 1.8 meters, the narrow wall. However, broad wall foundations had already been laid as far as the river Irthing, while the turf wall began, demonstrating that construction worked from east to west. After most of the forts had been added, the vallum was built on the southern side. The wall was thus part of a defensive system which, from north to south, included a row of forts built 8 to 16.1 kilometers north of the wall, used for scouting and intelligence, for example, the Newcastle Roman fort, glacis, and a deep ditch, a berm with rows of pits holding entanglements, the curtain wall, a later military road, the military way, and the vallum. According to Shepherd Freary, the garrison reflected the political rather than military purpose of the wall. It had heavy provision of cavalry or horsemen, which could sally out from any of the milestone gates through, as mentioned earlier, though, as mentioned earlier, the garrison was neither expected nor trained to the level necessary to defend a citadel wall. Freary believes that the mile castles, which would have needed 1,000 to 1,500 men, were held by a patrolling garrison of Numeri, though he concedes that there are no inscriptions referring to Numeri in Britain at the time. Command headquarters was at Uxe Lodunum, nowadays called Stanwix, near Carlisle, while the Ala Gallorum Petriana was based. In the years after Hadrian's death in 138, the new emperor Antoninus Pius left the wall occupied in a support role, essentially abandoning it. He began building a new wall called the Antonine Wall about 160 kilometers north, across the isthmus running west-southwest to east-northeast. This turf wall ran 40 Roman miles, or about 59 kilometers, or 60.8 kilometers in this, according to this Wikipedia article, and had significantly more forts than Hadrian's Wall. This area later became known as the Scottish Lowlands, sometimes referred to as the Central Belt or Central Lowlands. Much of the wall has now disappeared. Long sections of it were used for road building in the 18th century, especially by General Wade to build a military road. The preservation of much of what remains can be credited to John Clayton, who trained as a lawyer and became town clerk of Newcastle in the 1830s. He became enthusiastic about preserving the wall after a visit to Chester's. To prevent farmers taking stones from the wall, he began buying some of the land on which the wall stood. In 1834, he started purchasing property around Steel Rig near Crag Low. Although Hadrian's Wall was declared a World Heritage Site in 1987, it remains unguarded, enabling visitors to climb and stand on the wall, although this is not encouraged as it could damage the historic structure. In 2003, a national trail footpath was opened that follows the line of the wall from Wall's End to Bowness on Solway. Because of the fragile landscape, walkers are asked to follow the path only in summer. Hadrian's Wall path runs for 135 kilometers or 84 miles.